Okay, so hey guys, I decided to record another CeVIO tutorial, just to answer some questions that people might have and stuff. So, first question I got was how to change the color of the editor, and you do this by going to the second to last drop-down menu up here, and then you choose Option, and then you go into the last one, which is called Song something. I don't read Japanese, I'm sorry. And then you can choose some different colors here. This says rainbow, this says pastel, this says simple, this says blue, this says gray, and this says black. And I have the pastel, which is basically just a pastel version of the default CeVIO color, which is a rainbow. And then if you go to the first one in the options, you can also change the picture of who you want, but I only have Minato, so he's here to stay. My beautiful boy. Anyways, I decided to just show you some tricks that I've discovered after using the program for a while, and maybe come with some tips and tricks, I don't know. So for the song I chose Black Paper, or I think it's just called Paper Moon, and it's from Soul Eater, and I chose this song because it has a mix of English and Japanese, and I want to show you some consonant editing. So I'm just gonna do this first line, which says, I'm falling down into my shadow, iki wo hisomete maate ilu deadly night. So it sounds like this.
I'm falling down into my shadow, iki o hisomete mate
So you can
iru
probably
deadly
notice that
night.
these apostrophes, is that the name? Whatever. These lines, they make it like a weird sound. Sorry, that was probably loud. But they make a weird sound, and that's just because CeVIO doesn't have this line as a phoneme, so it doesn't know what to do. And the first thing I want to show you, which you already kind of saw, is if you go into Song, which is the fifth one from the left, and then make sure you have this checked, or you can just click Control P. You get the phoneme list for Japanese, because there are only Japanese vocals at the moment. And sorry, why Minato? Anyways, if you click this or check this, you have a full list of all the phonemes available in CeVIO, and you also have the ability to just type in phonemes instead of typing in Japanese words. Like, you know, there on Vocaloid, there's also an option for seeing phonemes as the primary lyrics or whatever, and you can like edit them. And you can kind of do the same thing here on CeVIO. So it won't show always, but if you click a note, it'll pop up like this, and you actually have like a palette of sounds, and you'll actually notice that apart from the standard Japanese sounds, it also has V, which is like, well, it's an English V, or just V as we use in the rest of the world. So instead of U and Wa, it's like V, like a V. Yeah, you probably know what that is. And then it also has a CL, which is, I think it's short for clutter or glottal or something. I know glottal is with a G, but something like that. And basically it's like if you want to write ma'ate or mate, like with two T's, you can kind of notice how there's a little short break between the A and the T, and that's basically what this thing does. So for this part where he says, I'm falling down into my shadow, it's English, so I want to edit the phonemes a bit. So instead of I'm choosing I'm with an M, and you can just type them. So he says, like he says I'm instead of I'm. And then it says faring, just gonna change that to falling. And then make this longer. And if you want to delete a note, you can just drag the old one on top of it. You don't need to actually what's it called? You don't need to actually delete it. And then you can also play around, because you can make some weird mixes. Like, it doesn't sound that different, but you can play around with it, just try it out and stuff. And then here it says down into my shadow, and the person wrote da u nen. I'm just gonna wrong sound. I'm just gonna make this longer, and I'm gonna change this into an E, and then I'm gonna change this into an U N. And if you type it, you have to like make a comma between the sounds, but it's totally possible if you don't wanna use that thing all the time. But you do need to have it checked, even if you don't use it. If you uncheck it, you'll just edit the lyrics. See, it just says nope. You have to have this checked. And instead of Vocaloid's kind of weird phonetic system, where like the sh sound is like a big S, you actually just type it out here, like sh is actually just SH, so that's pretty easy to figure out. And then you can use this end thing, or this clutter thing. You can use it as an end node to just create an end to the sounds. And then here it says maate iru deadly. I'm just gonna change this. This is how it sounds before. You can kind of hear it says dori. I'm gonna change that to a normal D. It sounds a bit more natural. And then here you can also just put a T. And then he says it. And the great thing about the clutter is that, I'm just gonna go here to the end. A great thing about the clutter is that if you want like like you want that glottal stop, you can just write A, and then you can write glottal and then A. And you can hear it kind of makes like a little break. I'm just gonna make this a bit shorter. Which is pretty neat though. And you can also just like make it in a separate note. So if you like write an A here and then you write the clutter here, it also does the same thing. Then we're just gonna go back here. And that's just like some basic editing you can do. You can also get a bit more creative and just try it out a bit yourself too. So I'm actually not sure how many of these things are like new features, because I didn't discover them until recently. But basically, another great thing that I discovered is that if you have like volume up here, you can like you can click on the text of another parameter and you can see it in the background. So you can edit the pitch while looking at the vibrato, amplitude, and look at the volume at the same time. Or you can like do as many as you want, except normal, but that makes sense. So, and you can switch between them but still see all of them, so that's pretty neat. I'm just gonna change this into black because it changes how this looks, and I like it way better when it's black. So yeah, and I also discovered that in my previous tutorial I said that if you want to like edit like an consonant, I'm just gonna choose like Python Japanese here. If you want to make this so longer, in the original one I just told you to like edit these things or these lines, but you can actually just drag down here and it changes the whole sound instead of you having to manually change everything. So if you want like Right now it's just like a normal saw, so it's like this. You can actually drag it a bit longer, and it like makes a longer S sound. So that's pretty neat. Of course, you can also just do that with the phoneme editing. So if you write like a te here and then a short e, you can kind of like stretch out consonants too. So that's also pretty neat. Then for volume, it's actually pretty cool because you can edit the vibrato a bit more intricately now. So if we say the te wants a vibrato or whatever, you can use these things, which is vibrato amplitude and vibrato frequency, which a person was kind enough to tell me, and I don't know if you people know what it is, but I'm just gonna make an example in Utao to demonstrate it. So vibrato amplitude is like when you change this, like, wow, I'm really great at this. If you change this, like you make it bigger, and then frequency is when you change how many waves are in it. And that's basically what this does. And I don't really use it because I find it easier to just draw out the vibrato, but it's there if you want to do it. So if we want to have the te to have a vibrato, you can draw like a vibrato. And then you can actually go into volume and then have pitch as a thing in the background, and sometimes it doesn't show them properly there. And you can edit this to just like make it a bit more natural. So that's pretty neato. I'm glad they added the feature to see multiple parameters at the same time. I don't know if it's always been there, but I didn't discover it until now. And another thing that's worth to remember is you can change the quantized length. So if you want like a super short note, you can change how long you want it to be here. So yeah, that's a thing, which is also pretty great if you're writing songs or whatever and you just want to pop in some notes quickly. And then I got a question on Twitter on how to smoothen out vowel transitions, and honestly I don't have that big of a problem with it, but I can just try to force something awkward here. Like it sounds pretty good in general. I don't know if they like fixed it in an update, because it used to be very awkward. But you can basically play around with that in the timing as well. So I like to make sure that it's actually on the right line. But yeah, actually it pretty much like, I think they've pretty much fixed it themselves. So yeah. I think that's pretty much all I have for any new tricks or whatever. So thanks for watching.